Saliba. Welcome back, Benchwarmers. Game week 3 recap. Arsenal are on top of the table. That's right. Arsenal are on top. Man City come back from a 2-goal deficit against Newcastle in the Oil Clásico. Chelsea got marched on by Leeds 3-0. United get the crucial win over their bitter rivals Liverpool, who are now 3 games without a win. Some questions to ask. Where's the respect? I'm one of your hosts. My name is Erik.
Nick.
John, aka
and Diego Statro.
Oh man, this is one of the few weeks that I'm going to enjoy being up top, but I'm sure it's gonna quickly come down. Probably this weekend against Fulham. Yeah, that's how it goes. But regardless of that, before we get into all the juicy topics today, please, we appreciate all the follows, the likes, everything's in the description down below. So any suggestions you want to come in the podcast, let us know. We always have an open spot on the bench. We are sorry for giving this episode a little late. Just had some technical issues, but today will be a nice long one. So make sure you guys stick around and enjoy what we have for you. Just to give you a quick rundown, we got the game week 3 recap, game week 4 predictions, fantasy 15, a few spicy questions, a few questions to kind of get the gears rolling. So should be a fun one. But how are you guys? Oh, my whistle's downstairs. Damn it.
I'm good. Can't complain.
Happy Independence Day. Yeah.
Thank you.
A man popped into the room with that flag behind him. Just caught me off guard, man. But that was
I was gonna put up the picture of the Estadio Centenario, but it was like literally right behind my head, so you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. So it was the best I can do on short notice.
Well, it looks great. So look, if there's anything that you guys want to say right now, if not, I'm going to just give you guys my opening questions so we can kind of get into it. But anything you guys want to mention before we get into everything? No?
I'm ready to talk.
All right. So ready to talk. So opening question, guys. It's nothing crazy today. I'm just going to do something a little lighthearted this time around. It's a kind of different angle. If you could be an animal for a day, which one would it be and why? An animal.
I'll take point. Because I've always wanted to have the bird's eye view. So if I were to be an animal, I'd probably pick an eagle. I'd probably pick someone big, someone respected. I'm gonna take a wild guess that it's probably the most common bird on national flags. I don't even know if that's true, but I'm gonna make that up. A fun fact though is that pink is officially on only 2 flags in the entire world.
Officially,
it's part of the color palette of 2 flags in the world, and that's Mexico and Spain.
So you just woke up one day and decided, you know what colors are on all the flags?
No, it's just a fun fact, color theory, you know what I mean? But I would probably choose to be an eagle. I like eagles are pretty dope.
Fly like an eagle. Okay.
I would say I like the ocean, so I would pick maybe a sea animal, maybe someone ferocious. I'd be a shark.
Aquí llegó el tiburón. Ay. Nick. That's my choice.
I would be a crocodile.
Cocodrilo, okay.
Got that dog in him. Crazy.
All right.
Just a crazy specimen.
Yeah. Very cool. I think I'd be a sloth. Just hanging in the trees all day, just chilling, just sleeping, taking my time, doing my thing. I think I'd be a sloth. So yeah, that's my question for you. A little lighthearted. Let us know what animal you would want to be if you had in your other life or in your next future life. Who knows? Whatever, right? So all right, kick off. Ready, guys?
Yeah, let's get it.
I have a whistle, so all right. I know we've been waiting for this moment here, all right? So I'm going to give it to the United people first because, this deserved. Man United 2, Liverpool 1. Go ahead. Take it away. What you got to do? Diego, I don't know who wants to take it first.
You guys know that photo of Michael Jordan crying, holding the trophy and stuff. Like that's how I felt with the just with the result. He's like this with his head down, just crying. Man, you know what? It almost feels weird to be happy about it because I definitely did not expect it. I know my ass clearly predicted a 4-1 loss for United last week. And so that's why, to my surprise, I think it was even better to go into it. Typically, I have my hopes up. Typically, I keep faith, and I wavered. I wavered last week. I wavered on my team, and they came out with a ridiculous result. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, I think same. I mean, I predicted a 3-1 loss as well. But I think this was definitely a Ten Hag performance. Like this whole match was all Ten Hag because I mean we got mauled by Brentford 4-0, and Ten Hag's response was to bring everybody in the day after on their day off to run 13, almost 14 kilometers, which was how much more Brentford had ran against them. And then initially, from reports, everyone was pissed and moaning and groaning and bitching about it. And then Ten Hag suits up and runs with them. I think that moment kind of just spoke volumes. It definitely was the definition of actions speak louder than words. And that kind of just told the team that Ten Hag is going to share and shoulder the burden and responsibility with them. He's not going to point fingers at anyone. We rise, we fall together was pretty much how it comes across. And then we kind of saw their response. You know, they're starting to realize, you know, what Ten Hag is all about. And that was the Ten Hag performance. That was all him.
That was actually beautifully put. Like I would have wanted to be a fly on that wall, but yeah, I mean that was a brand new team that came out. That Maguire benched, Ronaldo benched. Is that a coincidence, or should that be a blueprint of what should be coming in the near future?
I think it shows that he has a big set, like a huge sack on him, because he decided to not only bench an ego like Ronaldo, but then there was, what was it that I read? There was this consensus among the managers that had utilized the team and always went for someone like Maguire. And on top of that, he drops those two, and then he starts McTominay, who a lot of people have been slating off for the last 2 games because he's been terrible. And then he came out and he said 2 important things in the post-match. And he was like, he pointed out the fact that McTominay had a great match. And then he also made a point to say that I want my players to understand, I'm truncating it, of course, I'm like paraphrasing. I want players to understand that it's not about benching, it's about I'm the manager, so I pick who's going to be best for each game. And so I felt like, oh damn, this guy just got there, and it comes off the back of his conference before, where he was like, what was it that he said, guy? I'm pretty sure maybe you'd remember best, because I don't know if maybe you guys heard it too, where he was just like, I'm confident that I can get results with this team. Like I've always done it at all my teams, so I believe I'm going to do it here too. And that was just like, oh man, if that shit fucking backfires, this guy's going to be freaking roasted alive. So
yeah,
I think it showed that he has a freaking huge sack, man. I was surprised. I definitely.
And then just to add to that, I know either I sent it to you, Diego, or you sent it to me, one way or the other. This is actually what happens in Ten Hag's career. Every team he manages, it's always a rough start. He's very stubborn. He has his way of playing, and that's what he wants to do. By the end of his tenure with every single team, they're begging him to stay because he says it all the time in all of his conferences that it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and hopefully this is not even hopefully, he said it himself that this is the start. So hopefully this continues.
Yeah, it's definitely a long it's a process, you know. It's a project. You're starting with Ten Hag, and if, like any manager, man, if you give him time to implement his philosophies, it looks like Ten Hag knows what he's doing. He has a track record. Why not? It seems like to be the right guy. Nick, I got talk to us, man. I know you're probably hurting when you saw, because you were trying to save all the energy from the day because you were working that day to watch the game, right? And then you saw the result right before you got into it.
Yeah, bro. Peacock fucking shafted me, bro. Like Like, how is that live stream going on for so long? I look at the end, it's like 3 hours, almost at the end of 3 hours, some change. Like, how is that live stream going on for so long? Like, I turned the Peacock stream on, and it shows the result. I'm like, man, I might as well just know the result. So I just put on football, but I know the result. I was gonna watch the game back, but there's no point if I know the result. So.
And you lost on it. It hurts, right?
Say that again?
You don't want to watch a loss.
Yeah, probably not. Especially now with that midfield.
It's your boy, man. It's your boy. What you mean?
Yeah, my boy. He showed out. He put a good shift in next to his other boy, next to his other Brexit boy. Absolutely shambles of a midfield. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus wept.
Nick, are you worried at all right now? Like this is a rough start. You know, you did the first loss, but the first against were draws, right? I believe. Yeah. Is there red flags going on right now, or just the injuries have mounted on, the signings haven't really come in, or is Mane again possibly a big missing link?
Mane is not a big miss. And he's not a big miss, and I'll tell you why. Because people are saying, oh, Mane will be a big miss. That is extremely disrespectful to Mane's form between the years of 2018 through 2020, when he was genuinely a top 5 player in the world. Like, he clearly declined. Like, Liverpool's miss isn't Mane. It's literally losing Thiago or Diogo Jota. Like, Mane between the months of last year, maybe August to December, didn't play that well. He really started to kick up in February when he started playing at the 9. So he's definitely a miss, but I wouldn't say he's a humongous miss, and this is the reason why Liverpool are failing to win games, because I'm pretty sure if you have a midfield of Jordan Henderson and James Milner, most of the time you'll probably fail to win games. So, but the only really big worry, the amount of transition goals Liverpool concede is absolutely absurd when they don't have the likes of Thiago. Just because Thiago and Gini Wijnaldum, when Gini Wijnaldum would really use his athleticism to plug the gaps. Thiago positionally, he's really good defensively, so he'd help Fabinho in a way to really cover the gaps in transition. And without one of those two, obviously Wijnaldum isn't at the club and Thiago was constantly injured. You really see how Fabinho is left. Obviously he didn't play this game, but the 6 is left so much in open space just because there's no one there to help him, which is very, very not good. So it's very criminal that Liverpool haven't acquired a midfielder. I think that is due to Jurgen Klopp. Any nonsense of people saying that money is not there, it's a nonsense. Jurgen Klopp is the one who doesn't want to send a midfielder that's not Aurelien Tchouameni or Jude Bellingham. So, yeah.
All right. Now, I do want to kind of bash on Klopp real quick, but not yet. Van Dijk. There's something not right now. He's looking less ferocious. Martinez was definitely the better center back of the night, diving into every shot, every tackle, into everything. He was just going at the ball. Van Dijk was defending more with his aura. But look, before you give me what you thought what happened, I have a conspiracy theory. All right, this is my tinfoil hat moment. All right.
Wow.
Diego made something beautifully, but we'll save it for when we're actually in the studio. So my tinfoil hat. So I did a little digging. I had to do a little research before I came up with some random conspiracy theory. So I did a little this on the Glazer family. All right, Nick. I'm benefiting you right now. So the Glazer family originally got their fortunes, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. You know, again, the conspiracy theory from renting out real estate for malls across all America. Now, what are in these malls? You got stores like Sunglass Hut, Adidas, Nike. Who makes Liverpool's kits?
Nike. Nice.
Those kids were hypnotizing Van Dijk the entire time, throwing his defense off. Bro, they from the very beginning, this was plotted. I told you those kids, man, they were gonna come back and bite you. It wasn't hypnotize somebody, and for him, it's like he's seeing his players all in front of him, just throwing them off. So the Glazers, and Diego, you should appreciate the Glazers for doing that. That's big brain move right there. That's
5v chess.
That's 5v chess, bro.
That's 5. Now, Van Dijk, he always has those moments where he look like he can engage and be more aggressive. Maybe question marks against Wilfried Zaha's goals at Anfield. Obviously, this game with Sancho. A couple more examples. He's definitely declined since his injury. There's no doubt about that. He's still probably one of the better center backs in the world, but it does get kind of annoying where you just see like, damn, you should just engage more. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's like he can obviously get there because he has ridiculous recovery pace. I just don't know why he would. Maybe he just because he backs his other defenders more. I don't know. I really don't know. There's no really explanation as why is to think he does that at times. But it's definitely not crazy to say that he definitely declines his injury, which I mean most center back would. So I mean I don't know. But yeah. Lisandro Martinez though, like it was kind of obvious he'd have a good performance. Like he's up against a striker who's everything is being played on the ground. Like the striker isn't aerially challenging him at all.
So let me ask you: did he, instead of going down this week, did he grow this week?
Did he grow? He grew 2 inches, Nick.
Nah, he's the same height. He's the same height. He's not allowing King to cause still.
So. Well, all right, man. This was a result that not many of us expected, but well deserved. That Manchester team was looking great. You guys were pressing phenomenally, and
they stopped playing out the back. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's one of the reasons why I feel that Van Dijk got caught out, because I think he almost gave up because he knew that he had to cover almost 3 different attackers during the central goal, and the heat map or the pass map for all of De Gea's clearances, you could clearly see a bias towards the left side, where he was told to probably target the space between Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez. And so it's like, at least it shows, I remember we talked about, does he stick to his guns or does he adapt? And I feel like he did a bit of both. It sounds a bit odd to say, but I feel like he did a bit of both, because he definitely was like, okay, what I wanted and playing out the back was a shambolic performance. So we're gonna skip everything, fuck all that, boot that ball as far as you can, but at least lean towards the left side, where clearly both goals came through that left channel. And I think it was like 40% of all of United's attacking patterns came through that left channel. The middle was 28, and then the right was like 31, something like that. If I remember, like 32 off the top of my head. So it was, man, yeah, I just like, I can't believe that they pulled that off. And then he comes out and then he starts cursing on the live interview on the American broadcast. He's like, these guys can fucking play. And like, it definitely was like, man, it's a we beat Liverpool trophy moment. I hope it doesn't end up like that, because it's gonna be funny. But man, it really, I just like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I felt bad that Nick had dropped all his Central stocks just the week prior, but no one knows.
I still haven't dropped.
It definitely at least showed that there's definitely a team there. So now, you know, the right circumstances all hit, and that's what we saw. Hopefully that continues.
All right. Well, look, if that's anything else in this game that you guys want to touch on, Nick? I know we didn't get to talk much about how the way Liverpool approached this game. Is there anything that you want to kind of dissect from Klopp's strategy here?
As far as in the midfield, like I don't understand. Like he did this against Palace. I don't understand why you're playing both of your eights so high up the pitch. Like if you go look at James Milner's average position when he touched the ball, he was literally almost playing as a striker. Like why do you have your 8 so high up the pitch, especially James Milner, whose legs are cooked as well? He's not going to come back. So he did the same thing against Palace, where he had James Milner almost playing as a left winger / as a number 9. Like I really don't understand. Like I understand Harvey Elliott being up that high as a pitch as an 8, but James Milner, like at least just have him sit in with Fabinho. Like he probably doesn't have to do half the job that Thiago does defensively, but just have him sit in. I don't really understand why he played James Milner side up the pitch. So yeah, I wasn't able to watch the game.
That's right. Yeah,
I think you should, man. I think you should, because even though he didn't see the game, he's exactly on it. Because the Elanga chance, when McTominay put in Anthony Elanga, the freeze frame, which I had seen, it had Harvey Elliott literally on the other side of the center circle, basically in United's defensive third. And then just below him was Henderson, and then just above him was Milner. It was like all 3 of them, but they're basically almost past the halfway point. And so when McTominay intercepted, it took just one vertical ball to bypass all three of them. And he's absolutely right. It was like, I don't know if it's maybe something where Klopp feels like, okay, this is my proven formula. These guys just have to get it. But definitely playing the ball long and then just immediately going for the attempted through ball is what they benefited from bypassing all of that. I think you should watch it though, because I don't know if you want to say it, Nick, or if it's going to be bad luck for you. But I don't know if you want to see this trend either continue or Liverpool to improve next game to kind of put your conspiracy theory up in the air.
There also needs to be more time because there's not enough time in a football match. So
your conspiracy theory?
You got a conspiracy theory, Nick, or do you believe in bad luck?
No, I definitely do believe in bad luck.
Oh, so you don't want to say it? You don't? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
What conspiracy theory? Oh,
where you were saying that.
Oh, if it were to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say. So obviously Liverpool played Bournemouth this weekend on Saturday. I said that if Liverpool, obviously I don't want it to happen, but there's a small part of me that kind of wants to see it happen, to see the absolute meltdown that happens within Liverpool's fan base. That'd be pretty funny to see. I wouldn't mind seeing that, but
well, look,
I'm not saying I want it to happen, but
instead of going to the very end and then digressing and talking about Liverpool again, do you think this form will carry into Bournemouth, or is this where you guys get back that 3-4-0 result?
Nah, they'll probably win against Bournemouth because Bournemouth are probably the worst team in the league. No harsh on Bournemouth, but they'll probably just paper over the cracks. I swear to God, though, if they conceded the goal for, like, this is the 7th league game that Liverpool have conceded in a row, going back to last season in the Premier League. Like, that's 7 league games. Like Jesus Christ. Oh my God. 7 fucking league games where you concede first in a row.
I like the vibe that Nick is portraying now with the wife beater on and like the hair slit. It's like the disgruntled fan who's had enough.
Bro, I just need tomato sauce on this shit, bro.
We'll talk about the United Southampton game a little bit later because that is one of our games to watch. So we'll save that conversation for a bit later in the podcast. But all right, let's move on to Jesse marching all over. Jesse, is it Chelsea or Jesse? I said Jesse, right? Jesse marching all over Chelsea?
I mean, it rhymes.
In my head, it got messed up. But yeah, man, what a game. 3-0 intensity, high press. Should we continue to expect this from Leeds? Because I want to start off with them first. I think they're just desserts. So do we expect this to continue this style? I mean, obviously the style of play, yeah, that's what Jesse Marsch is known for. But the ability to actually keep Chelsea out of the goal. Granted, Chelsea don't have a striker, but we always want Bielsa to go on a good run and then concede like 5 goals the next game. Are we expecting the same from this Leeds, or maybe not? And Dale, kick it off with you first.
I want to say that I think we can expect it because clearly Marsch is utilizing the players that he has in their best positions or to their best ability. I don't know if I did see the game, and it was absolutely glorious to see not just the pace that he was utilizing up front, but the tenacity that he has with someone like Tyler Adams, who he clearly fully trusts. And he's getting carded in like the first 10-15 minutes of matches now. So I think that maybe not beating Chelsea 3-0 every week, maybe not getting that big result against a big team every week. But I want to put out that one stat. Leeds lost every single match against the Big Six last season. They took 12 L's last season, home and away, every single Big Six team. And they've already started on a much better foot with this 3-0. A convincing 3-0 on top of that. Yeah, we could probably talk and I want to get into the Mendy blunder. I don't know if there's like a Mendy agenda out here, but listen, I think that seeing De Gea mess up last week, Mendy just gave him a hold my beer moment, and he completely choked it with Aronson not even looking at the goal as he tapped it in. So that's my opinion. I think they can continue. Maybe not as well as a 3-0, but I feel like their fortunes this season they're not going to be fighting for a relegation scrap, I would hope. It's definitely early, but that's what I see now. And that's the question I'm going to pass on to the next person. Is Leeds aside, is this decline from the Chelsea defense? And I have a stat about that during our fantasy segment, but the Chelsea defense has definitely been conceding a lot more. Is this something that has to do with just Mendy declining and maybe those mishaps, or is it something that's just not working with their 5 at the back structure that they've been doing?
I think it's just definitely something that we can definitely expect going forward with Leeds. Like Diego said, Marsch is definitely utilizing these players in their best possible position, but not just that. If you think back to how Bielsa played, yes, the style is more or less the same with just a high intensity and just constantly running back and forth. But Bielsa was also very much into man marking, and you get one mismatch and that's it. They're cooked. They're done for. Marsch is not focusing much on the man marking aspect. He's actually keeping them in more of a zonal defense so that they're actually prepared, no matter what gets thrown at them. But just the high intensity that Leeds are able to maintain is just absolutely nuts. And now the fact that they're structurally they've improved under Marsch, we're gonna see it's gonna be some fun football to watch, whether you're a fan or not. I can't wait.
My interesting take on this, I literally just thought of this, is that Marcelo Bielsa didn't come from a school, I believe, that came from, pressing principles, football and principles around pressing. Obviously implemented that, and Leeds did really well when they came up in the COVID season, and obviously did pretty poor the following season. Jesse Marsch comes from Red Bull, a notoriously known school about pressing. So I think it will continue, like Diego and Gad said, in terms of overall all this pressing and whatnot, but much more structurally better, I guess you could say, because Jesse Marsch, from his time at RB Salzburg and his short stint at RB Leipzig, which he didn't do really well in, he knows how to structurally create a press well enough to be sustainable. So obviously Leeds' last 3 results, I believe they have a draw against Southampton, which they came back in. They
2-2.
They were 2-0 up, and obviously win, and then the 2-1 win against Wolves. So although it is 3 games, you can see there is a tad bit of sustainability where, okay, maybe this could be where it lasts the whole season, but again, we've seen it with other teams before. They just die out. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, they're gonna have up to a good start, so let's see if they continue going. Chelsea on a pretty rough start. Looked good against Spurs. Honestly, I give them that game over Spurs, but they didn't get the result. Losing 3-0 is. Are we starting to ask questions on the man with the angry handshake?
Bro, his team selection was so weird. Like he continued with this Tottenham lineup with Loftus-Cheek and Reece James to kind of counteract Son and kind of just pack the midfield. And he came with the same lineup against Leeds. Like it's almost like, all right, this worked against Tottenham. Let me run it again against Leeds, who's a completely different team to Tottenham. And then you're playing Conor Gallagher, who's very technically inconsistent. We saw at his time at Crystal Palace in a pivot. Like next to Jorginho as well, who wasn't the best off the ball. Like it was just very questionable team selections. And like that front 3, like Kai Havertz, man, I had a lot of stocks in him. And I dropped it a while back, and I think I made the right decision in dropping him because I don't understand what the guy does. The guy's looking like fucking James Charles out here, bro, doing nothing over here on the pitch. I don't understand what he does. The guy's just like, geez.
Chill. He scored crucial Champions League goal. What do you mean,
bro? That attack is tragic. Like the fact that I don't know, Thomas Tuchel's long term obviously wants to switch to a back 4, but he's accommodating to play. He's accommodating 2 players just to play in his back 5, and that's Thiago Silva and Jorginho, who cannot play in a back 4. So he's basically switching his whole system that kind of prevents his 9 other players to kind of really play with his strengths. Like Mason Mount isn't a forward in a front line. Like he's an 8 who relies on, whose game should be on making deep third man runs inside the box, high octane, high energy. Obviously Cucurella as well, like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, like I don't understand. Like obviously his long-term vision is a back 4, but like obviously the right profiles would have to come in for him to switch a back 4. So yeah.
Well, maybe Lukaku's missing. Yeah, somebody's over
Yes,
there.
yes. Hot take. Chelsea
Oh my
is
God,
Romelu
no.
Lukaku. If Romelu Lukaku was at Chelsea, if he just had the perfect, like I said, it's Jadon Sancho. He's a luxury player. He needs the right conditions. Like, have you seen guys Chelsea targeting Anthony Gordon? Like, why are you targeting Anthony Gordon when you have Callum Hudson-Odoi? I know
60 mil, right?
Hudson-Odoi.
60
Yeah,
million.
60 mil for Anthony Gordon. When you have Hudson-Odoi, I know Hudson-Odoi has like 4 goals in his last 4 Premier League years. But what's the reason you're targeting Anthony Gordon for?
If that was Antonio Gordini, it'd be like 10 mil.
Yeah, honestly, this might be another hot take, but I feel like this, like, English players, like, there's a lot of players that if they weren't English, they'd be priced more. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, for example, if they were Brazilian, they'd cost more. I don't know.
Like, what do you mean? Like
cost less, you mean?
English players are overpriced, like Relish, 100%.
No. Like, the opposite. Like, if this player was Brazilian or Spanish or Portuguese, they'd cost more. Like, I feel like it isn't just English players.
No, I think it's predominantly English players.
English players, man.
I think it's predominantly English players. Like the fact that Anthony Gordon, who's going for 60 mil, while like, so for example, Pedro Neto, who Arsenal linked to, and I'm just saying this off the top of my head, is going for 50 mil, who's more of a proven talent than I would say Anthony Gordon is, a little bit older as well, national player, but he's going for less than Anthony Gordon, who just came out of the academy.
I don't know. I think if these players, like, I understand the whole English, like, very overpriced, but I don't
English
think
tax.
it's all that to that. Like,
but the thing is that it's not just because of the skill of the players, because of the nationality. At the end of the day, they need the homegrown players for the books, because they can only have a certain amount of foreign players on the team. So when you have a good homegrown talent like that, you want them on your squad so you can fill another slot up with somebody foreign if you need to save some money there. It's all a ploy. Conspiracy theory. But yeah. So Nick says Lukaku's missing. Diego Gat. Do you guys agree with that? You guys had the man once.
Listen, absolutely not. He's gone. He's done. It's over with. I just want to say, I was gonna bash on the Anthony Gordon thing too, because I was looking up really quick what his goal tally was, and I know it's already a slippery slope to reduce a player to his goal and assist contributions, but Anthony Gordon officially has 4 goals to his Premier League career in his last 4 years,
and none of them are intentional. No, literally, like, if you go look at his professional goals comp, like 3 of them are deflected.
And by comparison, Callum Hudson-Odoi has 4 Premier League goals in his last 5 years, so he was on point for that. Conversely, though, Pedro Neto has about 7, and arguably he would be going for cheaper than Anthony Gordon. I think that one of the bigger things that we should talk about, and it maybe could be a segue into what we were mentioning with this Dele Alli to Besiktas thing, is that, can you name 3 Englishmen outside of the Premier League without including Dele Alli? Englishmen.
Like right now?
Yes.
Fikayo Tomori.
Okay.
Chris Smalling.
That's 2.
Yep. There's one more in the Serie A.
Well,
Reece Nelson.
No, he's at Arsenal.
Yes, he's back at Arsenal.
No, Balogun is, and so, but that, I see what Dale's point is. There's very few. Like, it's just
there's very few,
and there's none that stand out really either.
Exactly. So I think my conspiracy or my hot take is that there's a vacuum where English players are the commodity, where they have to have like this shiny object as part of the franchise, the club, whatever you want to call it, the institution. And it's like, that's why they're probably so expensive, because they're so rare. They know they're probably not going to be, I don't know about successful, because I'll probably eat those words. I'm pretty sure there have been other successful English players outside of the Prem historically. And I'm just like thinking, not even Beckham, but maybe Owen, just throwing names out. And I feel like that contributes heavily to why they're so overpriced, because there's no way that they should be spending 60 mil for someone like Gordon. And then back to the main conversation of what Chelsea are looking at, I definitely it's not Lukaku. I think it's ridiculous that they sold back Werner. I know we already touched on that, but then you're left with a forward line of like Ziyech, who's eating bench, Pulisic, who's eating bench. I don't know, man. I don't know how to fix that team, obviously, but there's nothing that comes glaring out that looks like, okay, maybe Tuchel is tinkering a little bit, and it's probably just going to be like something where they throw money at the problem as they usually do, and then end up with like maybe 2 or 3 really big names that nobody had expected. The Ronaldo rumors, just to mention that.
Aubameyang.
And Aubameyang, that's right.
That looks like it might actually happen now. Like it's in advanced stages.
I'd be sick.
I'm pretty sick. He has a fucking Arsenal tattoo. How do you live around have a Chelsea jersey on with an Arsenal tattoo? Fucking what?
He's gonna get the tattoo,
right?
Huh?
He's gonna get the tattoo removed and get a new one.
Imagine that, yo. Oof. But man, let's move on, man. Chelsea lose to Leeds 3-0. Jesse Marsch, America. All right, Newcastle 3, Man City 3. Man City started off on the right foot. Newcastle came back in a really, really impressive. I was just honestly impressed how. I mean, if you look at the players they have, they're experienced players, some of which have really good careers already and are top class. So for Eddie, should there be a shot for Eddie Howe and his coaching? Because he's getting a lot out of these players. And they got to kick it off with you first.
Yeah, again, like the way he mentioned on the last episode about managers simplifying their players' roles. The way he's just come in and just simplified his players' roles to maximize, to squeeze, like he's getting the best out of Dan Burn. Like Dan Burn probably isn't the best, but he's just squeezing every last drop out of Dan Burn. Also out of Miguel Almiron. So obviously we didn't see that under Steve Bruce prior to Eddie Howe. But the way, like I said, he's been able to just simplify everything, simplify his players' instructions and get the best out of these players. Like St. Maximin, like prior to, obviously St. Maximin has better teammates prior to that January transfer window last season. But he still had that brightness under Steve Bruce, but you never see like St. Maximin under any other manager, obviously under Steve Bruce. Like this St. Maximin under Eddie Howe, and obviously Eddie Howe under Bruno Guimaraes. Obviously now Sven Botman, Callum Wilson. Everyone has just been like just gotten that much better, that little bit better.
And Isak as well?
Yeah, soon come.
Uh-oh. Should we be scared?
Bro, honestly, St. James's Park, like with players like PNP players, like pace and power players like Maximin, Guimaraes, Joelinton, Isak, Callum Wilson in transition, bro, that's gonna be scary. Like you do not want to put up a midfield. Like if you're like a big six going away to St. James's Park, you don't want to get a midfield that's gonna be absolutely overran because long day.
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, Nick really hit the nail on his head. Just simplifying the roles. I think one of the biggest transformations you also see is the player he just mentioned is Joelinton. I mean, in the past, you always see he used to always play a lot up top. He moved into the midfield, and he's scary now to look at the way he plays, the way he just attacks, and he just helps control that midfield so well. It's definitely a big shout to Eddie Howe, because if you just look at just their prior meetings, I mean, last season, City got the double over Newcastle 5-0 and 4-0. Just in their last 5 matches, Newcastle, not including the one that just passed, so the previous 4, Newcastle only scored in 1 of those games, and they were blanked in the other 3. So it's just been a huge transformation. It's definitely all the props to Eddie Howe. I know in the beginning we weren't really sure what to expect out of Eddie Howe, but we definitely agreed that in a couple years, Newcastle is definitely going to be a team to be feared, and I think we're starting to see why. And just thinking about Isak coming in, and God knows who else they're gonna bring in these next couple transfer windows. It's gonna be scary.
Like you know how we mentioned like we like how Newcastle are doing their business, not like over the top, like smartly recruiting. And it was like the first sign is appointing Eddie Howe, because obviously Eddie Howe isn't a big name manager. So it was very clearly their intention was to just stay afloat, get challenging, and then once we're ready to take that next step up, then we appoint the new manager. I mean, who knows? Eddie Howe can be great, but most likely they'll appoint a new manager and then get the big name players who, at the time, will be the right players to go for. So the sign was always there where they would just like smartly recruit and just stay afloat and then get that a little bit better, and that was really there with Eddie Howe.
There should be a conversation now between Eddie Howe and Graham Potter, for example, as far as English managers, and that probably deserve more of a rating than they're given. Do you guys agree with that, or?
All day.
I think Graham Potter is probably the better manager. I think Eddie Howe probably has a lot better players at his disposal.
But which of the two are replacing Southgate?
Nah, hopefully neither. Well, hopefully, if anybody, I hope Graham Potter stays in club, yeah. And then Eddie Howe goes to coach in England. But I think Potter should stay. I like what he's doing with Brighton.
Yeah.
But yeah, should there be some worries? Are we seeing cracks in Man City's defense, or was just this a day at St. James's Park and Eddie Howe got, like Nick said, the best out of his men? Diego?
I think it's more of a case where teams are starting to realize that if they go at City and they attack them, there are cracks that they can exploit. So it's not necessarily that, okay, had a bad day at the park, but if they show up at any other stadium now, it's almost like I would hope that there's a blueprint where teams can look at it and be like, okay, this is how they executed. They weren't afraid to hit them with a very pacey counter, because I didn't see the past maybe the 20th minute. I rewatched it, and it was incredible to look at how they were just overwhelming. Not just on the flanks, but going into the box and getting players like St. Maximin and Almiron to go firing. I think it says something about City, man. Clearly, they're not going to be, losing 3 games in a row or anything like that. Although I would love that for that to happen. But I think it's could I say maybe a bigger problem? I mean, we could point at the fact that wasn't Ake taken off early and Ruben Dias was put in. Maybe he wasn't ready to do so. We could probably look at that center back pairing and maybe make up some sort of an excuse there. But definitely more credit to Newcastle. Although I think it's worth pointing out that it looks like City have been not found out, but it looks like they've been so far in that sense exposed, that if they're attacked, you could definitely get through. Instead of I remember reading something that or maybe it was Nick that had mentioned it, that there's less and less teams in the Premier League that are applying this low block. Like, they're not just sitting back and absorbing. They're waiting for their moment to just hit back and go quickly. And I think that's something that definitely they executed well against City.
I don't know if you froze on my screen. Did you guys all see that? Okay. Yeah, you're frozen.
Yeah, I was about to say he's very good at ventriloquism if he's not frozen.
I just froze.
Yeah. If you want to leave and come back, we'll buy you some time. We'll play some elevator music in the meantime.
Well, with City though, my bad. With City though, like the way they're 3-1 down away at St. James's Park. The atmosphere is absolutely buzzing. It's so easy to just get caught up and get lost in the sauce. The way they were just to come back from, like you said, a 2-goal deficit.
That's big. That's still good.
Yeah, and it's been kind of going on with City this past season, where they'd go down, for example, on the last day of the season, they were 2-0 down against Villa, came back to winning 3-2. So just the way this Man City do come back, it's crazy. Some of the players who have to just change the game is nuts.
It definitely shows why they're champions, for sure.
Yeah, it shows why they're champions. But that's a good point to make that you made there, Nick, because they have been going down. Could that possibly be signs of possible, not saying that they're already at that point, but burnout? We've seen it with his players at Barcelona. We've seen it, maybe not so much at Bayern because he wasn't there for that long, but it's so demanding at some point that, eventually they're going to just get tired. So, yeah, they're going behind, but going behind 3-1 is very unlike City, I would say. So maybe Pep needs to get some, or is it just Haaland's not clicking in yet? It hasn't really happened with Haaland. Is that what we're waiting on right now?
Chill. Haaland, you mentioned Van Dijk aura, bro. Haaland has that aura, bro. Like, you know, defenders are scared of him, bro. Like, the guy,
Dude, I'm scared of him just looking at him.
bro, like, he's made in a lab, bro. Like, how could you be 6'4", 6'5", and be one of the fastest players in the world? Like, that's just like so impossible. Like that slip ball, I think it was De Bruyne, where it was in between the left center back and the left back, and then Haaland hits it with the left, and it hit Nick Pope with a really good save.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just like you guys mentioned, what we all mentioned, his penalty against West Ham, like that burst, like that's nuts, bro. Like Haaland is crazy, but I forgot what I was gonna say on City. Fuck.
Wait, click your thoughts, Diego. I'm not sure if you're there yet, but you froze again.
But dude, like this City team, they're robots, bro. Like it's crazy, man. Like they're just fucking robots. Like everyone knows where they are, and it's a benefit of having like juego de posición manager, like, you know, Mikel Arteta, Xavi, Pep Guardiola, where once you get your players up and running, and you build a continuity, like maybe 2 to 3 years, like the structure and the setup just becomes so robotic, where it's just almost like, damn, how is this humanly possible that a set of 11 players can be this robotic in terms of positionally, and a position stance? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's that's the idea, right? When your left back has the ball in the left channel and the attacking third, they want to know where the right back's gonna be at, so that way they can just ping it there without even have to look, and then boom. Let me kick the. Could you have another one here? Let me remove this one.
Oh, I got it now. I got it. So you mentioned how City, this could be like a maybe problem. Honestly, bro, it could be like this league is crazy. Like it's so good right now. Like every team apart from like in a league apart from Bournemouth can give you problems, bro.
So
like,
I had a question. Could there be a title race due to City form this season? I guess the question is, I Liga?
No, probably not.
No. Well, then all that excitement for what, Nick?
No, I'm just saying, like, every team is like has their strengths in their own way. Like, if you just run through it, so you have your teams who are tactically coached pretty poorly. Like, for example, but have really good technical players, and players like your Aston Villas under Steven Gerrard, Leicester City under Brendan Rodgers, who are technically very poorly coached, but they have a lot of good players still. And then you have your teams who are very well coached, like your Brightons, like your Brentfords. And then you have your teams where just like such sleepers, where you have incredible set of players like your Crystal Palaces, and now Wolverhampton Wanderers, obviously West Ham United,
Newcastle
United as well. And then obviously you have your Big Six, who will give anyone trouble. And then you have Fulham now, who can have completely game changers, and Mitrovic and Joao Palhinha, and who else? Like everything.
Whoa. Drew was to Fulham, and now all of a sudden they're like a sleeper team.
I mean, they can give like team challenge though, you know what I mean? Like, they're not like some knockover team.
Yeah.
Well, at least it is early, but like I said, every team apart from Bournemouth in this league can give you a game. Like, no game is gonna be easy. Like City will probably run away with it or probably win a league, but every game isn't gonna be easy.
Well, look, give us this week, all right? Give us this week. So respect, Nick, please. This week alone, at least this week. Next week, maybe different story, but this week, por favor, respect, por favor. All right. So we move on. Newcastle 3, Man City 3, Spurs 1, Wolves 0. Perisic getting the connection going. Son is getting replaced. Oh. Pobrecito son. Are we gonna be worried about Spurs this season, because they're looking like they're having much better players in certain areas that are gonna be helping on the scoring front, not just the main three that we were talking about earlier, which was Kane, Kulusevski, and Son. Now we're talking about Perisic. Now we're talking about Ray Charleston. And even the likes of Lucas Moura, who can still come in and possibly get a goal for you. Are we starting to possibly get some fears over Spurs this season? Granted, the result
like,
they were able to get.
Them challenging for the league.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it's look, you're Nick. You're one of those conspiracy guys. Oh yeah, if this happened this year 500 times ago, fucking, I'm sure 10,000 times that, yeah, whatever. But look, Conte, what's Conte's thing again? Every 3 years or something like that, he gets a title.
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about though. I think it might be
No.
every 2 years.
So look, this is the second. He got the investment. You know, we all know if he didn't get the players he wanted to get, he was gonna throw his toys at the Prem. You know, we knew that. He's done it before. Why would he do it again? But he got the players he wanted, and it was some deep investments. So not deep, but it was good investments. Could this be the year that they get something, you know, to put in the trophy cabinet to wipe the dust off?
I think I wouldn't go as far as saying league right now, but I do think that there's definitely cause for concern because I mean you pointed out Son is not doing anything and they still look pretty good. And Son is not a player he's not bad. He's an excellent player. So it's just taking him a little longer just to actually kick up. And when he does, goddamn. So it's definitely cause for concern because they're doing it without him. Just imagine what's going to happen when he actually starts kicking up. It's going to be scary. But I wouldn't go as far as any league conversation. I would probably a domestic cup. Maybe I can see them winning for sure. But I mean, they're decent, man. They're decent.
I saw a lot of this talk about Tottenham and how if you don't have possession of the ball, you can't control a football game. And I think it's very untrue. Like, you can control a game without having possession of the football. Like, they limited Wolves to one big chance. Like, you can. There's no doubt that you can control a game without having possession of the ball. In terms of Tottenham, I think, like Gab mentioned, I think they have a very good chance in terms of winning maybe like the League Cup or FA Cup. The league, I don't think they'll challenge for the league. Number one, because Pep exists. That's one. Number two, I think European football, like Champions League, will have effect on them. And I know they have decent team depth. And my third reason is just because I think in big games, obviously Chelsea away, but I think in big games where, like, for example, like that first half against Chelsea against away at Stamford Bridge, like you can see like Tottenham's inability to play out of a high quality press because they don't have the technical amount of technical good players that Conte possesses. I know, like I said, he's an elite manager at raising levels with players, but there's only such point you can get. And I think you saw during that first half against Chelsea where once they come up against a high quality press, I think you'll start to see those like very, very, very big flaws to see kind of lose whole of the game, if that makes sense. So, but Tottenham, they're good. Can't even lie.
All right. Diego, are we
No,
gonna respect Dyer?
Yes, fuck Tottenham. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why right now. There's a reason why they bought Richarlison, and I feel like my hot take is that they've already sniffed the waters and they know that Son is on a decline. Not many people realize, or at least would like to realize, Son is past 30 now, and yes, there's a very, very small select group of players that age finally like wine does, but I don't think that Son is going to have it in him to kick it up another gear because that's what they need. That's what they need. As far as whether Richarlison can emulate what Son has done, I don't think so, but he does have different qualities. Now, I don't know why we're all glossing over the fact that it was 1-0 to Wolves. Like, please, Wolves can't do anything right now. They can't do anything correctly. And that hurts. That pains me to say, seeing Jimenez on that team. But as far as your Potences, your Netos, your Moutinhos, they spent on Huang for that loan that looked like it was going somewhere, honestly, last season. It looked like maybe like a last-minute thing. Maybe they pulled the trigger on. But 1-0 to Wolves, they shouldn't be struggling. Especially if, like Erik so succinctly put it, Conte got his money. He got his bag, and he got the players that he wanted. He's over here salivating over, Perisic is, I think he said something like, this is the same Perisic that I saw at Inter, or something like that. I read something like that where he was basically, I think he was trying to give props to the fact like, okay, this is someone that I know that I can utilize, and I'm going to utilize him. And he was talking about how Ryan Sessegnon, even though he's good, it's better to have a player that's experienced like Perisic in front of him. Like, okay, he and you got players who can help shore up the midfield. You got Bissouma, you got Højbjerg, and Kane. Please, Kane has to has to rely on, like, never mind the fact that he's already ruined my fantasy pick, but I feel like we're giving Spurs too much slack. We're giving them too much slack. This is a team that was in the Champions League final with arguably the same core of players. They haven't really lost anyone that we could say, like, oh, we mentioned last week, Brighton lost 2 really good players, and look at them ticking along. That hasn't happened at Spurs. If anything, they've added to their squad. Why are we not demanding more from them? So no, I'm not convinced by it. And I think Spurs are going to disappoint. They're going to disappoint this season because it's going to hit them in the face where now they have to play this Buns tournament called the Champions League or whatever it's called. And now they're going to have to rotate, and they're going to have to accommodate for fixture congestion on top of that. No. I'm speaking my piece, and I don't think Spurs are going to live up to the expectation.
Wait, what do you think of Tottenham?
Shit.
What do you think of shit?
Tottenham.
Okay, go ahead, Nick. I'll just keep going, but I feel bad. The dad's not here.
Diego, you had a Tottenham second.
I know. I did have Tottenham second because I bought into the Conte propaganda. I bought into the prop. I really did. Hey, listen, he's a mafioso. He's got the monster ties. He literally he put a hit out on Tuchel already. So for that, yeah, thank you very much, Conte. But I think now that the chickens have come to roost, and that they're smelling the flowers and they're smelling the roses and whatever other metaphor you want to stick in there, I think when reality hits them, they're not going to be able to adapt. And I feel like they might get left behind. And actually, we're seeing it right now with Chelsea. And if they don't, he's relying a lot on his wing backs. Granted, it's a system that really works for him. But how far is Emerson Royale going to take you? Like, are we ignoring the fact that there are still some areas in this team that haven't been bolstered, that haven't been improved on? I don't know. I think that there's a lot of Spurs tax going on. I don't like it.
And I did mention how there's only a certain point, but he did win a league title with Victor Moses and Marcos Alonso as his wing pairing. But it was different back then. Obviously, Pep didn't have his robotic super team that he has now. So it was a lot easier to win the league in that season. But yeah.
All right. Well, Spurs won. Wolves 0. Next game. Is that a game to we're focusing on this week or no? No, right?
Which one?
No, Spurs. I thought it was. It's not. No, it's not. All right. Last game of game week 3. Bournemouth 0. Saliba. Arsenal 3. Stop the count. I'm saying, look, I think it's perfectly justified to stop the count right now. There's World Cup ahead. Give the players a break they deserve. Come on, man. Honestly, they deserve a break. They've been playing way too much for far too long.
This is the guy.
3 game weeks. End it right here, and hand it off.
This is the guy that was saying that the players are gonna have to slave until November. What do you
give
mean?
Me the invincible trophy back. Give me it back to me. Oh man. Now, okay, that is my moment of gratitude for the rest of the season, because I'm sure it's gonna change quite soon. But yes, 3-0. The first question I have, and I guess I'll ask it to myself. I was asking to Marco, but I'll ask it to myself. Dare to dream? No. Not dare to dream quite yet. Great start, man. Nick, I hope you saw the late this game, because you see the lates of Saliba. Saliba, top of the 18, the banger, top bigs on the far right, in a beautiful swoop from Granit Xhaka, who's looking like a brand new player in Arteta in a more advanced role, not leaving him exposed in the back anymore. Zinchenko, Pep, thank you so much for giving us these players, because, like Nick said, these are robots who are coming into a system that Arteta kind of wants to, emulate in his own manner. But it's looking very exciting. I just hope that it continues. But to me, the biggest standout for this game it's got to be Jesus, even though he didn't get on the score sheet. The way he's playing right now, it's what you'd expect from him at City. I just don't think he had the freedom to do so. which is why we didn't see it as often. Because you're seeing him all over the pitch. And Pep's football, we do, yes, it's all positional play. The players are very fluid of football, but I'm trying to see how Pep is using Haaland, just kind of posting up there, and Jesus isn't that kind of player. I'm not sure if that's how he used him back in Man City. I can't really say, but right now the way he's playing is just amazing. He's bringing out the best in Martinelli. The way he can just bump a player who's twice his size, completely kill the ball, take on 3 players, and slip it off to Martinelli, and then Odegaard, who had a braces game, get the goal. It speaks volume as to what this guy is doing to the team. I think I said last season and every other season, Arsenal need Jesus, and we fucking got him, because he is completely transformed us as of right now. Game week 3 again, as Diego always says, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, so it's a long way to go. But yeah, man, out the block strong. My only fear for sometimes if there's any weak link in the team right now, ironically enough, I think it's Ramsdale. He gets me nervous, man. He looks kind of floppy sometimes, and he just does things that are so unnecessary or just dramatic.
Wait. Is he one of those players that you don't rate that highly? Like, you rate him, but you don't rate that high.
I rate him. So look, he's a goalkeeper who's what, 22, I think, 23. Goalkeepers don't really start hitting their prime where they're mature and they, don't do those little like heroic moments as often until like they're like 27, 28, kind of later in their career. So I think Ramsdale is very much still raw as a goalkeeper. We have him clearly for his his distribution, because I don't think his shot blocking is all that great. I think actually Leno was probably better at shot blocking than Ramsdale is, but I rate him. I do rate him, but it's sometimes, man, it's kind of like Sissoko when you guys had him at Liverpool. Like, he just, not that he looks awkward on the ball, but he's making a save, or he's coming out. He just looks awkward. Oh, that's Sissoko. I'm sorry. What's his name? Whenever defenders. Sacco. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Sacco. He looked awkward on the ball. And I think that he looks awkward on the ball, but if a cross comes in, he just like dives out and hits it somewhere awkward. It just looks awkward sometimes, and he gets me a little uncomfortable, but he hasn't done anything for me to be, oh, we need a new goalkeeper now. I think he's still the right guy to have. But I know I just mentioned Xhaka. I think Nick Arteta, you mentioned before, he wants to see his player development. For what they always say, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I think we're seeing some new tricks from Xhaka under Arteta, and is more in this advanced role. He has two goals and assists already this season. That's matching what he's done almost every other season prior to this, and this is only game week 3. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Odegaard imposing himself. I think you heard the podcast. So whoever said that, thank you for saying that. He took your word for advice and went onto the field and stole a goal from Jesus, just ripped that out of his foot. But man, it was overall it's exciting right now as an Arsenal fan, just because we haven't had this start since 04, 05, I think it does, the stat or something like that. Haven't had the same starting 11 since 02, 03 or something. I think I forget what year. I think it was the Invincible year. Nick, if you believe in these theories, the last time, if I'm not mistaken, the last time Arsenal had the same starting 11 for the first 3 games was the Invincible season. So look, I'm just saying, if we end the season here, that conspiracy continues. So I think we should stop the count.
Also, like,
what's up?
I would be even more excited if I were an Arsenal fan. Like, Arsenal have a very good run of fixtures coming up. So
yes,
I don't think they'll obviously win the league. I really don't. But I think they'll have a very good start going into the World Cup. Now, they kind of have tough fixtures from the beginning of October to mid-October. They have Tottenham, Liverpool, and then Man City, 3 games out of 4. But from now until maybe before the Tottenham game, until Brentford, the only real tough game is probably United. It'll be at Old Trafford. So that's the only real tough game. So I think going into the World Cup, I think Arsenal can have a really good start. But yeah.
Anything from the United front? I know you guys were bitter old rivals, but maybe not as of late as much. But we're in Europa League, man. Hey, the Europa League drawing is happening.
Greatest European competition.
This is Europa.
I think the only question I really have for you, Eric, is just, I mean, of course, obviously, I'm not going to watch as much Arsenal as you are, but just I mean, just looking at who the goal scorers have been these first 3 game weeks, and I know I was speaking to Diego about this I'm viewing it from a fantasy point, but I'm going to ask you anyway. It seems like everything is coming from the left. So, like, is this just a case where Saka's also taking some time just to kick up, or have they really just found their niche and they're just going to focus on the left side all season? So, like, what's going on?
I think it's the combination of both, actually. I'm happy you brought that up because the goals haven't just been coming from our striker, haven't just been coming from our right wing, our left, they're coming from all over the place. So that's one thing that I'm glad you brought up, because that's something to point out that we were lacking last season is the goal threat. Now we're kind of seeing that in different areas of the field. Saka, I think he is having a slow start to kick up, but that I think is more due to the fact that him and Ben White are starting to get more familiar with each other. If you look at the previous games, Nick said that Ben White is such a different kind of player than Tomiyasu was, for example, because Tomiyasu would make the overlapping runs. Ben White, for once, made an overlapping run and actually got a goal out of that. That's the one that he caused took to Jesus, and then they took it off of him. So I think we're going to start seeing more from Saka coming up soon. But the reason why I think you're seeing everything coming from the left a lot more is because the likes of Zinchenko, Xhaka, and Martinelli and Jesus they're just linking up so good. It's that triangle is just constantly rotating. So you either have Xhaka in the back, or you have Zinchenko back, or you have Martinelli back, and somebody's always on the wing. It's very, very fluid. So, and they're all pretty technical when it comes to the tight passes in tight spaces. So that's why I think it's really popping up there, because Jesus and Martinelli are just ping 1-2, and then he's in the box, and then he's either scoring or assisting. So that's why I think it's you're seeing it more from the left side, because it's just that left pod on the upper left is just connecting a lot better than the one on the right. But I think you're gonna start seeing more on the right. Tomiyasu's back fit. I think him and Ben White are completely different players. I actually think Tomiyasu is a phenomenal player. Just doesn't get the recognition, but that's another conversation. I think you'll see more from Saka. Maybe not. I mean, honestly, these games, you should see more of in these games, because these are, like Diego said, these are a fair run of fixtures we have coming up that we should, for the most part, do well in. So he should be turning up soon. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple goals in the next couple games. So I would say that. For the fantasy perspective, if you want to pick up Saka, I don't know. I still have Odegaard. I don't know about that anymore. But yeah. Anything else on this game, or you guys want to go into some other results real quick? Other results. All right. So the other results.
Wait. Zinchenko.
Oh, we believe in the soul. You got the power. You're in this time. Always believe. Zinchenko. Oh. What's up?
Our next games. Zinchenko, like, he might be one of the best technical left backs of all time. I don't think we've seen a left back more so just technically great as him. Like the guy is absurd in tight spaces. That you probably seen in that video where they did like the keepy ups where they're like jogging.
Oh yeah.
Like, he just sprinted forward and just burned everybody. That was crazy.
He's a joke on the ball. Like, that's crazy. Like, he is unlike anything we've seen before, in my opinion, in terms of left backs, solely left backs.
Nick, it's funny you say that, because I think that actually has a lot to do with what Gat said as to why we're seeing more from the left side. Because with Tierney, Zinchenko and Tierney are completely different. Obviously, we know that Tierney is more of is the left back by trade. Zinchenko is more of a midfielder by trade. But when Tierney plays, Tierney holds the width. He loves to go down the flank and overlap. He's not the kind of player that to drift in, take a player on, or do like a 1-2 pass in the inner channels. He's more of someone who likes to work on the outside and cross the ball in. So with Zinchenko, that's why you're seeing a lot more from Martinelli, because that brings out the best in both their games, is those quick 1-2 passes. And Zinchenko is so technical. I'm sure you guys saw the one where he did a little the back heel kick and nutmegged, I forget who it was, but pretty much broke the line with that pass and got right to Xhaka, which if he was faster, probably gonna have gone further, but whatever. Yeah, he is. I mean, that's credit to Pep. He transformed him. He's a midfielder. Pep got him, put him as a left back. You saw what he could do in Man City, and now he's replicating it, and maybe even better than he did in Man City at Arsenal right now. So yeah, man. I mean, credit to the scouting, credit to the player development at Man City as well to be able to do what they did with him. But he is looking like one of our best signings of the season so far. And I'm kind of worried for Tierney, man, because I love Tierney. That's my guy right there. Tucked in shirt, fucking no, short sleeves in the fucking middle of the snowstorm. I love that. Tesco bag and everything. But sometimes if it doesn't fit the system you're trying to play or doesn't fit the players that are on the field, it's good to have him as depth at this point right now. That's one thing I'm extremely happy about. We have another player who's top quality behind Zinchenko, and he can mix him up with somebody else if need be.
I think with players, Tierney he's good technically. Obviously, he isn't on a level on the same stratosphere as Zinchenko. I think with managers like JDP, juego de posición managers like Pep, Arteta, Xavi, I think obviously they love their technical players. So if you look at City, the only player who isn't as technical, like as great as the others, is probably Ruben Diaz. And then if you look at Arsenal under Mikel Arteta, you see they know there's this point where they're technically limited, their team, so they come in to introduce players who can bring that technical level up to another standard. Like I said, under managers like Arteta, Xavi, and Pep, who main principles is positional play and technicality. So you'll see, for example, Tierney, I think he's very good, but I think you'll see Arteta to kind of lean more towards Zinchenko just because it brings that level and the potential of the team in terms of a technical ability, just that tad bit higher, which can make all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. That's why when Martinez went to United, I was kind of upset because I think that would have been another great player to have over Tierney, because if you look at all these players that Man City recruit, Arsenal recruit, I'm sure Ten Hag as well with Martinez. These are all players who can fit into different positions, so they're familiar with these different positions and can just adapt to whatever's happening on the field. And if you're doing positional play and you're the left back, but now you're in a midfield role, you should know who's in your position. So it's interesting to see that it's finally kicking off for us. So I'm happy to see that. But I think that's enough Arsenal talk for anybody who's listening, because you probably hate me right now. I've been unbearable. I know.
Oh my God.
All right. So some other results around the league. Crystal Palace beat Aston Villa 3-1.
Steven Gerrard.
Oh, Stevie G. Va fuera.
He's the manager in Aston Villa's history, the most manager in Aston Villa's history to have more than losing 50% of their matches. The guy is dreadful, absolutely dreadful of a manager. Yeah. The way he's been backed by Aston Villa's owners are notoriously known to spend a good amount of money. Very nice team, very nice set of talents, and for them to be underachieving like that is very disappointing. The guy is just unable to coach a defense. The first thing you come into a new team, maybe like a Villa or like a team that isn't like a big six or a big top half of the table, you try to fix their defense. And Villa's defense isn't absolutely horrible. Mings, he's a decent defender. I don't rate him personally, but he's all right. You know what I mean? Ezri Konsa, he's all right. Luka Digne, Matty Cash, Boubacar Kamara in a six. It's not terrible defensively in terms of individuals, but the guy just cannot coach a defense. The guy is a joke. And I can't believe I thought that he'd become a Liverpool manager. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. Sheesh, man. The guy's out of his depth.
Well, yeah, they're having a rough. Coutinho, Ben Dia got his start, but didn't really take advantage of that moment to seize his opportunity. So you will probably see Coutinho come back into the starting lineup again. But we move on to the next game. Everton draw at home to Nottingham 1-1. Aaron Gordon for 60 mil? Come on, man. That's seriously. Fulham beats Brentford 3-2. Your boy Ivan Toney. What's up, man? Didn't bail him out this time.
Listen, Ivan Toney with probably the fail of the game week because my man's was okay. Granted, he got 2 goals chalked off, right? And then after the first one was ruled off, I think it was for an offside, if I'm not mistaken. He scores finally his first goal, and he does the Mitrovic celebration in front of the Fulham home fans, bro.
What a shit
Just
houser,
like,
yo.
just straight shameless copying Mitrovic's. And then by the end, by the 90th minute, Mitrovic with that last minute dagger to get the 3-2 win, and he comes out and he says, "You know what? I have idols." Like, oh, who did he say? He's like, "I look up to other players the same way Tony looks up to me." Oh my days.
Ooh, those are fighting words.
This purple patch will not continue. Ivan Toney will show you how superior he is of a striker. Get Ivan Toney to a bigger team right now, and he'll become a world-class player.
I'm testing a theory out, and I think we'll see next game week. So what team, Nick? What team, Nick, does Ivan Toney belong on that will get them firing and get them to that next level? Chelsea?
Chelsea Football Club.
Ooh,
absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. He can offer presence in the box because of physicality. He can drop in deep. He can link up play. He's an absolute nuisance in the air. And I think being alongside better players, you will see, obviously, he isn't the out-and-out goal scorer like some other number 9s are. I think he scored 12 goals last season, but 5 of them were from penalties. So obviously that's 7 open play goals. It isn't the best, but the way Chelsea are lacking a physical presence and a presence up top, I think Ivan Toney would be absolutely perfect. The guy's so clean, man. Like, his goal was just like Didier Drogba-esque, where he just shield off the defender, quick touch out of his feet, just bang it near post to the goalkeeper's right. The guy is he's a joke, man. I really want to see him at a bigger club. I really do, because I think he's just so clean. Everything just comes off of him so clean.
Well, we shall see how he bounces back in this next game, which we will discuss. Actually, no, we'll talk about it later. Leicester lose to Southampton. No Fofana, no Tielemans in the squad. Red flags. West Ham. What's up?
I just want to say before you move on to West Ham really quick, I think the stubbornness that Brendan Rodgers is showing with this team is going to cost him his job. And I really hope, I just hope for Leicester's sake that it comes sooner than later, because the whole Schmeichel thing, and we touch on this in fantasy, where there's a very ridiculous stat between Ward and Iverson, his 2 goalkeepers that he has right now in the club, and it's like picking out of who's worse. So just, I don't know, throwing up a flare, lighting a candle for the Leicester fans. Hopefully it comes sooner than later.
So first manager to get sacked?
I don't know about that, man. It's rough.
I think I had named him as the first one sacked. So
yeah?
I hope so.
Right.
No, I'm still sticking to Lamps. I still think Lampy might get the axe.
Or Stevie.
Now.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, West Ham winless. Oh, wait, what about their Moyes? Winless and goalless in another loss to the Nuggets Brighton. First of all, again, I think we touched on it earlier, but how good is Potter right now? What he's getting out of this team after losing Basuma. They lost. Who else did they lose recently again? Is that it? Cucurella. Sorry, Cucurella. Dude, these are main stars in their team that were just essential to the way they played, and to be able to still adapt and look just as strong as they did last season. 2-0 West Ham. That's a good result.
Like that's just a sign of a top manager, where they've created a system so well, so structurally well, where you can drop a player, and maybe the player that replaces them isn't as, to that level of the player who just left, but they don't look out of place at all. And you see that with, obviously, them losing Cucurella, East Basuma, with the likes of Moises Caicedo, and now Estupinian coming in at left back. Like, you just see, like, you can drop any player. Like, they scout incredibly well. They'll find a player, and, like, they know this player will come into this system who's already so well gelled. And they just know, like, that system that Potter has built. Like, the guy has Danny Welbeck, Leandro Trossard, and Gross having, like, just fluid attacking movements and attacking patterns. Like, people mention, like, I would say, like, Thomas Tuchel, like, his inability to just, like, coach attacking patterns and really properly coach his attack. Like, I'll see Chelsea fans give him slack, but then you see Graham Potter doing this with fucking Danny Welbeck. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Thomas Tuchel is incredible. He's probably like top 3, top 5 in the world, but still, like, Graham Potter top man. Like I just like if with Steven Gerrard, if he gets sacked or Brendan Rodgers gets sacked, I think Villa, Leicester with the funding they get, I think that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Well, I mean, look, don't count out Brain to become one of those teams because they do great business. They sold Bissouma to Spurs for how much? I want to say it was like around 45, 30. Ben White was 50 mil. Cucurella was what, 60 mil, right?
Yes, 60.
So they do good business, man. They could become one of those teams that over time, just with all the proper recruitment and then the big sales that they're making, they can become one of those big clubs. So good on them, man. Potter's looking great. West Ham not looking so great. That's the other results for game week 3. Ends off with Arsenal on top. Hopefully we stay there. Top the count. What happened though? Now let's end this part with game week the prediction update, Nick, that you should have.
Yes.
I don't know. I have game week 5 here. So, I'll just change that to game week 3 because
this game week was kind of dead. Can't even lie. Let me pull it up right now. So this is game week 3. So everyone predicted a Liverpool win. So every single one of us, all of us, got 0 points out of that fixture. Out of Tottenham Wolves, everyone got a point. So everyone got the result correct. Tottenham win. Palace Villa, everyone predicted a Palace win, so everyone got the result correct. So that leads to everyone having 2 points.
Awesome.
No one got the scoreline for Palace Villa. I could have sworn at least one of us got it.
Nah, the guy, come on. If you're gonna tell me you got the scoreline correct, bro. Nah.
No, I'm asking if someone actually
Listen, my prediction from I think it was game week 1, I still have to look at VAR because I'm pretty sure I said something different. But that's neither here nor there. All right, guys. So look, we get. So Nick, where's the lead of the table at?
The whole table. I want to surprise everyone by the end of.
All right, yeah, the end of game week 5. Yeah,
game week 5. All right. So we're in game week 3. We're gonna run this to game week 5. So Nick is gonna just keep us updated with point totals, but not the overall table results. So we'll save that till game week 5. So we got to think about the punishment. What do you guys think about the one I sent you about going to dinner with the stuffed animal?
You know what? I got one. That one's crazy, by the way. I don't know about that.
Why not? I think anybody who's listening or watching, what do you guys think? The loser should go to dinner with the stuffed animal or something embarrassing. Yeah, Nick, we can see you in the mirror, by the way.
Bro, I'm trying to find a pen.
I've heard about other
something.
ones. I don't know if you have one, Gat, but I got one sent to me where basically it's like it has to do with basically like posting up in a public space wearing a sign. Like one of those like I'm terrible at fantasy and I should be ashamed or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
I'm down. Well, let's figure it out. I think we should get anybody who's listening. Yo, Nate, what's up with you? I mean, look, I've done it before, but geez, I'm tired of suffering. But look, if anybody's out there that's watching, listen to this part of the podcast specifically, and you want to give us your thoughts on what the punishment should be, let us know. Want to embarrass us? If you want to, well, probably not embarrass us, but if you want to, put us in an awkward situation, or like Nick said, make us eat a Carolina Reaper. I mean, I guess. Anything for the views, right? I guess.
I'm absolutely down with that. I love spicy stuff, so I'm down for that.
Sounds like Gad's trying to lose on purpose now.
If that's the result, then I wouldn't.
All right, so look, we can take a break here. We can just drive right into it because we got some spicy questions to talk about. We got the 3 games that we're gonna focus on. We got Fantasy 15. And I have one more question for you guys to kind of continue to keep the gears nice and lubed up, nice and oiled up with some WD-40.
Let's go.
So keep going. All right. So for question to you guys, if there is, and this is bringing it back to some footy, all right. If there is one last transfer that would change your expectations for your season, who would it be? And give me like a likely one. Don't give me like, give me freaking Messi. No, don't give me something like, for real. So I'll let whoever wants to kick it off. If you have one in mind.
Yeah, you got an idea?
Something that'll change our I mean, likely ones. I mean, I think Anthony is gonna definitely be a huge improvement. It's not only just the way he plays, just his abilities, just giving us that extra depth, so that we just have enough players. So I'll probably just go safe and just say Anthony.
So let me just put to you guys specifically, because you guys got a brand new signing. So is there another sign that would change your expectations for the season, or does Casemiro change your expectations for the season?
No, I feel like already Casemiro changes it completely. I think it puts it on his head. If sample size of 1 obviously doesn't carry much weight, but if Ten Hag was able to get this type of result without putting Casemiro anywhere near the starting 11 because he was just unveiled, I think that it gives them the tools to adapt to different teams, to different tactics, to different approaches. And having that world-class defensive midfielder who might make up for all of the defensive blunders that we get to see from Maguire each week. I still believe there might be games where Ten Hag will turn around and be like, okay, I think someone like Maguire would fit better for this type of match. Because I'm not saying that he's saying this, but because Maguire can fuck up so often being pulled out of position, now I have someone to cover his ass in Casemiro who's going to sit in front of him, who's going to practice the dark arts and probably get carded, but we'll see. I think it completely changes it. I was going to, where I was leaning towards, I think that while there are obvious places that we can probably improve, I would say even for probably the fullbacks would be a good one. The right side is one that I'm looking at because between Delo and Wan-Bissaka, I'm not convinced either or. It's like it's basically an apple and an orange that we're comparing because they're completely different profiles. But I feel like with Casemiro, the expectation changed a little bit because I was like, man, we're going to really suffer if we're going to be shipping forward of teams like Brentford every week. And if it helps drop one of McTominay, one of Fred, if it helps Eriksen to play more creative passive forward because he knows there's someone behind him, I think Casemiro already changes that expectation.
Awesome. All right. Nick, what about you? Who saves your season?
Jude Bellingham, please save this midfield dross of mine that I have where players should be playing in a championship, let alone Liverpool Football Club. Jude Bellingham, please save my football club, please.
He's going to Real Madrid, bro.
Bro, if it goes to Madrid, bro, I will. Obviously, I don't know Liverpool's staff and head of recruitment, but if I were to be in their vicinity, I would laugh in their faces the fact that they wasted 1 year for a player who won't even come to them. But please, Jude Bellingham, save my midfield at my football club, please.
I feel like Nick would do the necessary research and just like go egg their houses overseas if that happens.
Like the fact that they're literally waiting 1 year to sign this guy. Like you're putting up in the air. Like they did the same thing in 2021 where they didn't replace. Obviously, he's a terrible center back, Dejan Lovren, but he was still a body. They failed to get the fourth center back in. They waited an entire year to sign Ibrahima Konate, which granted was very well, but they almost fucking threw away their top 4 chances where they needed their goalkeeper to score a game-winning goal to get top 4. And they're doing the same exact thing. And this is a whole other case where they're just wasting years of prime Salah, prime Van Dijk, prime Alisson to they don't even know if they're gonna get him. They haven't even signed a pre-agreement. City are gonna be gunning for him because they'll probably lose Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne and Gundogan will be a year older. They'll gunning for him. Chelsea probably gunning for him. And obviously Madrid. Like, they don't even know they're going to get him. But still, Jude Bellingham, please save my football club again.
All right. Awesome. The only one I would take is Pedro Neto. Honestly, he's the one that's mostly linked. He's the one that's looks like that we already have some progress going on right now. We got rid of Pepe. Was officially announced today that he has joined Nice on loan. No obligation there. Looks like Milena is on his way out as well. So if I want to get anybody right now, is definitely give Saka some more competition. And Pedro Neto, I think he's a great profile. He just fits the style of play already. He just looks like a player who just kind of slot in the way that Zinchenko and Jesus did, who just fit perfectly in that right wing. So I would definitely take him. But With all that being said, let's get into the 3 games that we have focused for this weekend. Then we got some spicy topics, maybe not, and fantasy 15, and we'll end it there. All right. Or do you want to say the predictions for last?
I say last.
All right, say for last. So spicy topics. Do you guys have any spicy topics? I have one. If you want me to kick it off.
Go for it.
All right. So let me pull it up real quick. So Nick, this is more geared towards you, but I'm also gonna ask obviously Diego and Gab because I want to get their perspective as a rival fan. But it's Klopp's time coming to an end. Klopp got Mainz relegated in the 7th year and dipped when he couldn't get them back up. Left Dortmund after seeing them off to a 7th place finish in his 7th year. This is, in fact, his 7th year at Liverpool.
This is an interesting one because I was hearing the same thing last season, but because this is his 7th actual full season, it's coming around because his first season wasn't actually full. He came in October. But to answer your actual question, there are signs of patterns. His time at Dortmund, his last season, mentioned a little tad bit on the last podcast, the last episode, where he was notoriously known to cling on to players and just kind of burning them out. And you kind of really saw that. I believe they finished 7th, that year. I think so. 7th or 10th. One of those. But either way, we saw notoriously that he clings on to this loyalty of players, loyalty towards his players. And you're kind of seeing the same thing with Jordan Henderson, James Milner, and these kinds of players where he just clings on to them. And it's kind of expected. I kind of expected it because he's an incredible manager, and these players are the ones that brought him up to that success. And Klopp just seems to me like I was reading Pep Linders' book, and I just get this whole vibe that they're so close to their players where, again, it's one of their biggest strengths and it's one of their biggest weaknesses. Like, for me, I think there's a certain point, you know what I mean? Like, if you go look at Ancelotti and Real Madrid, like, I'm sure they're very close, but there's a certain point, and they know when to move players on. I think when it comes to Liverpool's at least staff, they just cling on to players that much. Like, if Klopp was in charge of Wijnaldum's contract situation, he would have resigned. If Klopp was in charge of Sadio Mane's contract situation, he would have resigned them both, and it would have been the same exact core that you see from Liverpool winning the Champions League in 2019. Like, I'm telling you, if Wijnaldum and Mane's contract was up in the air, he would have renewed them. That's the problem with him. He's way too loyal to these players, and he clings on to them. And Liverpool's team is a lot better than Dortmund's team in their last season. I don't think it'll be an absolute collapse. I think Liverpool will be fine once they get their injuries back. But it's just when they do have those injuries, like, there's just a pure skeleton, and it's just like absolutely horrendous. So I don't think there'll be a total collapse, but there are like worrying signs in terms of Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool. So.
United were the first ones to really give you that real big blow. Diego, Gap, do you guys see a possible end of light at the tunnel for these guys?
What do you think, Gap?
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. I mean, it's Liverpool. I mean, I mean, like Nick said, once their injuries are good and everyone comes back and is fit, they'll be fine.
I think it goes deeper than that. And I'm going to venture out to say something that I think it goes deeper to the fact that there is clear nepotism in this club, and there are favorites in this club, and it's going to the detriment and to the enjoyment of your rivals. And I'm saying this because two reasons. Number one, which I'm reiterating what Nick said, they haven't replaced the necessary positions that they need. They haven't. Injuries aside, let's say, okay, the midfield specifically, and I'm not going to slander Trent or Robertson like that, but I'm just saying, they go down. Who do you have? Even in the back line, you don't have Matip. You clearly don't want to play anyone else. You're forced into putting Joe Gomez there. Where is that backup? Where is the player that you can just slot in, who you have preparing? He's been there for 7 years. We've heard, I don't know if we've mentioned already the 7-year curse, if you want to talk about conspiracies. But
Eric,
as far as,
Eric just mentioned that.
Right. So the 7-year curse, which I just want to bring that back up. If they haven't replaced these players, if they haven't brought in a backup for these players, I think it's starting to show that the favorites, which it's all coming together, it's going to be I think it's going to hit them a lot harder than they expect. I don't think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's going to hit them a lot harder. And the injuries aside, which of course every club has injuries, which is why I don't have much sympathy for it. You have to prepare for that. You're a club. Like I remember full well that I was saying to you guys, one injury to Bruno and we're stuck playing fucking 40-year-old Mata with his crutches and Matic who probably needs a wheelchair to move around. You have to prepare for those situations. And I think maybe the stubbornness to do so, this could be the season that it bites them in the ass. So that's what I'm saying.
Well,
like you mentioned injuries. Like I'm sure the club know Thiago is so injury prone and Naby Keita is so injury prone. I don't understand like why you just don't get a center mid in. Like for example, like Jurgen Klopp last summer in the 2021 summer, he said that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has a dynamic you can't buy on the market. That means that he had a tremendous preseason and showed to Jurgen Klopp, okay, I'm ready. Jurgen Klopp said, oh, I believe in you, my friend. So let's not buy a center midfielder so I believe in you because I believe in you. You see Thiago Naby Keita, why aren't you just buying a midfielder? Like, you're going to need next summer now. Like, jeez, bro.
I think we're slowly seeing Nick turn into the other ugly side. So I'm gonna relish these moments as they come little by little. But we move on. Any other spicy questions out there, boys?
It wasn't a question.
Okay.
But I put it down and I kind of mentioned already before. It's not a question, but it's just a statement that I already said it. If Ivan Toney goes to a bigger club, he will become a world-class player. That's it.
Okay. All right. Let us know what you guys think about that. Do you want him at your club? Is he the player that suits your system, and will he bring you to the next level? Will he become world-class like Nick says he will? I can see
no,
it.
because Tony rhymes with phony. End of argument.
Yeah, you have Martial.
Hey,
apparently Martial is gonna be backing up and running for the 7th season.
Bro, golden Ballon d'Or clause, bro.
Does Ivan Toney have a Ballon d'Or clause? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Ice cold Martial, baby. Ice cold.
Listen, Tony Gloves. It's all about Tony Gloves this season.
Ice cold Martial scored against Juventus.
Any other spicy questions there? Got Diego? Move on.
I got none.
You good?
I'm good, yeah.
Okay, I thought you were gonna ask one. You look like you were like contemplating right there for a second. All right, so the 3 games that we got focused here, we have Southampton. We're doing that for last. My bad. Fantasy 15. I didn't move my order around here. So Fantasy 15, guys, take it away, man. This is you.
Let's get it. The favorite segment. Favorite midweek segment. We're gonna start with a very somber funeral song for myself because I have now taken back-to-back L's in the goddamn draft league. But we're gonna go over some of the results for this past week. Game week 3, it was Erik against myself, and I took an L. Gats ended up beating Nick with a difference of 16 points, with some of the heavy hauling done by the Leeds United faithful, with Jack Harrison hauling for him. And I think, you know what, I'm going to say this. I think you got pretty lucky with this Gundogan shout, but all right, I digress. And more importantly, not last place FC continues, not in last place, taking the dub over Baleadas, managed by Josue Hernandez. Marco with the league high for this game week, 60 points. He had a ridiculous midfield return of Zaha with 12 points, Bernardo with 13, and Odegaard with 16, doing all the heavy lifting for him. As far as the teams that did end up losing, we all scored around 30 points. So myself with 37, Nick with 34. I think Perisic was Nick's saving grace. And for Josue, the highest scorer that he has was Hugo Lloris with 9 points. So it wasn't too pretty. An update to the table, just to give it to all of our audio listeners. We have Gat in first with 3 wins out of 3. No defeats, no draws. Erik in close second with 2 wins and a loss, and everybody else in the table has 1 win and 2 losses, with Marco in third, me coming in fourth, Nico in fifth, and Josue in 6th place. So that pretty much wraps up our update for the Draft League. Coming up this weekend, we have a new matchup on Game Week 4. I'm taking on Josue. Marco is going to face off with Gas. So last week's high scorers are going to face off against each other. And we have a very interesting face-off, Erik versus Nick. So looking at who's going to take the dub between these two guys in our draft league, we're going to jump into our Fantasy 15 recap for the Classic League. And the way we structured it between Gat and I, we're going to give you an update on our watch list picks. So basically, we're going to give you 5 names to cop, 5 names to drop. We're going to go into some of the stats for the week that's upcoming. And at the end of it, we'll wrap it up with captaincy shouts. So that way, you know, or have a better idea of who you should put the captain's armband on. So Gat, if you want to kick it off with our list of players to cop, we'll start with number 1. I think you and I are pretty much decided on who the number 1 name to bring into your team is for this week.
You got to keep the faith in the American. You have to. You just have to. You got to bring in Rodrigo. I mean, I even just looking at the updated list on here, he has eclipsed 1 million transfers in. And not really fun fact, but 20 minutes ago, he actually rose in price again. So it's just crazy. Over 1 million transfers in. He's clearly the guy on that team with Bamford just not being there. Even when Bamford's there, Rodrigo's still the one that's getting into those spaces and getting on the end of all of these chances. So please pick him in, like now, live. I think going down the line, I think right now, just based on the performances as well, you got to throw in KDB in there. Especially, I know Erik, you were contemplating what to do with the likes of Son. I know you may not have the budget to get him, but if anyone out there has Son and you're looking to offload him just because he hasn't really been doing the business, if you have enough in the bank, the easiest choice would definitely be to bring in KDB. Just as we keep going down, I think a lot of it is just it's all of course based on form. You know, we have the likes of Perisic in there, Trippier, who are doing the business in the defense. I think especially with Trippier, I know it was something, you know, we had mentioned before to just drop Newcastle altogether. They clearly must have listened to the podcast, because Trippier decided to say, nope, I'm going to prove them wrong, and I'm going to score this wonderful free kick goal. So
and first of all, Gat, you fucking laughed at me. You know, Trippier that red card. 2 seconds later, fuck that, let's go.
It was the one time where I looked away because I was responding to you guys, and I didn't have the match on because I was watching it on my phone. So I see the pop-up that says no card. I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm just going to stay quiet instead. We're gonna continue. We were speaking about how good Arsenal are doing. Definitely want to pick up the Arsenal defense. You see a lot of the Jesus and the Martinellis out there that have already been picked up. Number 1 would definitely be Erik's favorite, who is much better than Van Dijk in Saliba. He is definitely proven to be a viable asset. He is also a threat going forward as well. And one person I almost did leave out is Diego's favorite, Ivan Toney. Especially now, it looks like the template is changing. When the beginning of the season, it was very much Kane and or Haaland and Jesus and or Darwin. Now it looks like the 3-man front is going to be popular with the likes of most likely Kane. We'll get to why a little bit later. Jesus and Toney. So definitely looking to pick those guys up. Diego, I don't know if you want to take over now, who we should drop to make room for all these guys.
Yeah, I'm going to take on the drops, and there's a name that was it was basically dominating all of the transfers out which I'll get to, but I'm going to present it as the top 3, which should be looked at for players to drop. And the number 1 that I'm going to put on there, really, I don't want to put this in any particular order, but number 1 is going to be Neto. Pedro Neto on Wolves was a player that was included in a lot of the templates for Game Week 1. He was on a lot of teams because 1, he was cheap, and 2, they felt like maybe the Wolves attack, since it was lacking, Neto would have been that main guy. I'm pretty sure the Exodus has turned up over I think close to over 900,000 transfers out as I last checked earlier. But that maybe could be a bit off. The number 2 pick that I'm going to mention, which directly correlates to what Erik might be contemplating, Heung-min Son, for his price, isn't justifying being a premium on the team. As far as premiums are concerned, we're talking about players that are 10 million or above. This guy started out at 12 million, occupied a very important spot in your midfield, and now he dropped in price to 11.9. He isn't as involved. He got axed early to make room for Richarlison, which doesn't look good for his minutes. So it looks like Son is going to be number 2 off of this list to drop and let him jump ship. Number 3, this one hurts a little bit, but I think just to make room for the players that are influencing the Arsenal attack, Bukayo Saka, I think, is not benefiting directly in fantasy from having more attacking outlets. There are other players on this team that are sharing the brunt of scoring the goals, getting the assists. And I feel like although Saka is definitely involved, he's not going to get points for doing the hockey assist. He's not going to get points for being involved in the build-up necessarily. And so I think even you could risk the whole penalty argument, but I feel like if you have Saka, for example, and you downgrade him directly to a Martinelli, it wouldn't even be considered a sideways swap because you get the benefit that Martinelli's cheaper, and you also get the benefit that Martinelli's much more attacking and definitely a bigger threat for the Arsenal front line. That said, number 4, this one might be a little bit controversial, but Guy and I were going over it. Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland, we're going to make a shout for dropping Erling Haaland before Nick falls out of his seat. Just hear me out. Just hear us out for this Fantasy 15 segment. Erling Haaland is now being considered a rotation risk. The reason being, there is a direct quote that came from Pep Guardiola leading up to this game week where he said, listen, there's going to be a moment in time where our team is going to have to play a match every 3 days, and Erling is not going to do that. In the games where he doesn't play, Julian Alvarez is going to start. And that already has sent alarm bells ringing to everyone that had done the Kane to Haaland swap or who started with Haaland to begin with. I'm one of those. I had Kane originally, and I picked up Haaland thinking that his ceiling was definitely much higher. It looks like just on the minutes alone, Kane is making an argument to be that premium forward on your team. This rotation risk, especially with the Champions League coming up, the midweek fixtures coming up. After this weekend, we're going to have a game week in the middle of the week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is something to look out for. So after game week 4 finishes on Saturday and Sunday's matches, we have one day and Monday next week, and then game week 5 starts right away on Tuesday. And there's a lot of arguments and predictions about which one of the next 4 games or 5 matches that Haaland can start. And the consensus is really looking towards maybe 3 out of the 5 he starts, depending on also the Champions League draw, which had already taken place. And number 5, which it pains us to do so, but we had to make a choice here just to help people. We think that it's time to call it quits for Ward. Ward in the goalkeeping position was going to be the secret weapon for many players, many fantasy managers, to be like, okay, I have one cheap goalkeeper and I have a second cheap goalkeeper to spread out the funds to the rest of my team. It looks like that's going to backfire because Ward has been absolutely abysmal for Leicester under the sticks. And it looked like during the EFL match, Iverson had actually made a few penalty saves, which didn't bode very well for Brendan Rodgers as far as giving him a selection headache. So Ward in goalie, Gat's favorite swap for Ward would look like Sanchez from Brighton, because Brighton look a lot more defensively sound. They don't have that much of a difficult fixture run coming up in the next 5 game weeks. And so loading up even on some Brighton defensive assets, whether it's the goalie or the defenders, could be a good shout for your team. So that is our watch list update. 5 names, 5 and 0.5, because I'm not going to give Ivan Toney too much credit. 5.5 names to cop, 5 names to drop. And I'm going to go right into a bit of a stat attack here with calling out Perisic. 1 assist, 3 key passes. So far, he's leading with 9 crosses and 6 touches in the penalty area on average. It looks like Perisic is going to be a crucial name for Antonio Conte. However, a word of caution, it looks like he may be managed for minutes. This is another thing that, unfortunately, with the Champions League and the European competitions coming up, it may not be beneficial to pick up Perisic just yet. Number 2 on the stat attack, Kieran Trippier. He's taken 4 direct free kicks since joining Newcastle, and he scored 3 of them. Kieran Trippier is looking like the secret weapon for fantasy managers that gave him the slot in their defensive lineup. So it looks like he's going to be someone to look out for. This is something that Erik had mentioned, which I'm just going to run through these quick facts as well in our stat attack segment. The only team yet to score a goal in the league, West Ham United. It looks like all of West Ham's assets are going to be completely off of the list, completely off the watch list, completely off consideration, except for one small gem that showed up in the game today. Emerson Palmieri, 4.0 million defender, a cheap enabler, someone that you can have rotting away on your bench since we have to have all 5 defender slots picked up. And he may even make the odd appearance here and there, since it looks like West Ham hasn't really added much to their squad. Emerson Palmieri looks like he might be someone who could feature more on the field than on the bench. Number 2 in this quick facts segment, Tuchel, Thomas Tuchel. I had mentioned it earlier in the episode. He's managed now 60 matches for Chelsea. In the first 30 matches, he only conceded 17 goals. In the second 30, he conceded twice as many, taking in 34 goals for his Chelsea side. Could this be the end of the Chelsea defensive double up? Could it be the end of the Chelsea defensive dominance in the fantasy game? Maybe so. Another one, which I know Gat's going to be smiling about this, but James Maddison returning for 7 consecutive Premier League games, leading back into last season. These returns include 6 goals, 4 assists, and a massive 65 points for a very much under the radar midfielder. He does face a late fitness test, according to reports that were released today. So it may not be the time to pick him up. But as far as keeping an eye on him, I know Gat is one of the people that is hovering, ready to press the transfer button and keep Maddison on his squad and tell others to do the same. Last one. This one's a bit of a conundrum, and I feel like maybe Nico might appreciate this. Trent Alexander-Arnold is second most for transfers out this week. Transfers out, as far as when I last saw the transfer numbers coming in and being reported. And this is not recommended, especially right before playing Bournemouth at home. Bournemouth are conceding a lot of chances coming in from their left side, especially from crosses that are coming in. And I'm talking about Bournemouth's left side, which would be Trent's right. And it looks like Trent right now, he's top among defenders for crosses with 19 and second for attacking third touches with 106. So as far as Trent doing what Trent does best, he's certainly doing that. It's just that the points have been a little bit late to come in. So I feel like definitely for the Liverpool assets, meltdown or not, you'd want to keep and hold on to them. So yeah, I'm going to pull you in now for the captaincy shouts. And just before we get to that, what are some question, or at least maybe one thing that you're wondering from each of you, Erik and Nick, as far as the fantasy moves for your team this week?
So I have no Salah, obviously. I'm sure you guys will know that. I would say I had a shambles of a game week, but I wouldn't say I'm in shambles in terms of league position. So I have Foden, which I'll probably want to get rid of even though he's my guy. Now, Erling Haaland, really?
Listen, a rule of thumb when it comes to fantasy, you want to make sure you pick players that actually play the full 90 minutes. The fact that we already, which never happens, we have a direct quote that specifically says he's not going to play every single game. That is a major red flag. So that is it. It sucks for people like me because I will drop Kane for Haaland right before Haaland started rising incredibly. So I built up all this value in him. It kind of hurts that I'm going to have to drop him probably next week after this Palace game, depending on how he does. But silver lining, if anyone else is in the same boat as I am, you built up all this value, you have some extra money to play with, but you need players that play the full 90.
And have you guys mentioned Ilkay Gundogan or no?
We have not. And actually, Gundogan is someone that Gat has been pretty much a fan of since he started playing this much higher and involved role. It looked like he might have been included in a deeper position. And it seems like that's really the opposite case. So, Gat, if you have anything regarding picking up Gundogan, now would be a good time to kind of prop him up.
I mean, right now, Nick has mentioned it too in the past on prior podcasts. Just playing Gundogan and KDB in that midfield, they're going to be the ones that are going to feed Haaland. Just the way that they're able to pick out these passes are just going to massively help the way Haaland plays. And then just pulling up some quick stats. Gundogan is actually still amongst the top 5 for key passes. He's sitting at 9 key passes right now. He has a total of 7 shots. 5 of those shots are actually in the box. So not only is he being that creative outlet, yes, KDB still has more key passes, but Gundogan is right there behind him. Gundogan is actually getting in the box as well. So you'll definitely, and he's done it already. He scored for them, so he's going to get you that goal every now and then. But he's definitely someone you're going to expect more assists out of more than anything. But especially whatever happens with Bernardo Silva, I know he just played on the wing. But you're definitely he's also captaining the squad, so you definitely know that he's gonna play a lot of those minutes.
And to recap, also, it looks like Ilkay Gundogan could be a sleeper pick for these upcoming game weeks. Right now, he doesn't make the watch list for the main reason that we have to wait and see who Pep is going to prioritize for the league and who Pep is going to deploy for the Champions League. That being said, Gundogan is right now less than 10% owned at 4.4%. He's definitely much cheaper than some of the template 8 million midfielders like Saka, like Foden, and otherwise. He's priced at 7.6. He's gone up once. And so far, his returns have been 3, 10, and 8 for the last 3 game weeks. And it looks like Man City doesn't really play a difficult match. If you want to consider United, but honestly, we don't know what United are going to show up. It's very much a mixed bag. That's going to be almost a month and a half from now in October. They don't play a top 6 side until the middle of October, which is the 16th against Liverpool. So it's a really green run for Man City as well. So if you can't afford the likes of KDB, I feel like possibly in the following week, which is the midweek games, City will play Nottingham Forest. You can take a look to see where Gundogan is going to fall, if he's going to start or if he's just going to cameo, because then that would mean that he'll probably be saved for the Champions League match in the following week. It's going to be very, very tricky to navigate who's going to be starting and who's going to be featuring. But that's a very good question. It looks like Gundogan could be someone that we're probably going to be talking about by the next game week. So what do you got for us, Erik?
Honestly, I'm just waiting. My question is more on the captaincy, so I'm waiting to hear what Guy have to say.
All right, Guy.
So that's
we have a list. We have a short list for what the captaincy is going to be. So if you want to spit out the number 1 captain, or no, let's start from like the bottom options. Who would be maybe like a differential pick for captaincy this week?
Your favorite player, Ivan Toney, is a great differential captaincy pick. I already mentioned that the template is going to be moving more towards the 3 up front, and we've already seen what Tony's able to do. Nick has already been boasting about him, how good of a presence he is in the box, dropping in all of that stuff. And next game they play Everton at home. That's going to be great. Everton are not in the best form right now. We don't know what the hell is going on over there. And Tony's gonna tear them apart. He's gonna absolutely tear them apart. So that is definitely the number one differential pick. Going up the list, it's gonna be all of the usual suspects. All of the main guys all play at home. So you have your Kane, you have Jesus, you have KDB, Son, not really, but everybody else, those are the main guys that everyone has on their team. Those are very, very viable captaincy picks. But the number one captaincy pick, which Nick, I'm glad you brought it up. He does not have Mo Salah. He loves to score against Bournemouth. He is definitely going to be most likely the highest captain player this upcoming game week. So if you have him, depending on where you are in your mini leagues, if you're worried about your overall rank, captaining Salah is going to help maintain where you are. Just based on just how highly captain he's going to be, if you do not captain him, that is a huge risk, because even if he just returns just once, that is going to hurt. So number one, Salah. Just put it on him, forget it.
Number two, I would interject that number two in a close second. People are actually looking at Gabriel Jesus against Fulham at home. Gabriel Jesus at home, he's been very much involved with the attack, and it could prove to be a difficult match only because Fulham are coming off of that high, coming back against Brentford. So I'm looking at it more as that it could be a goal fest. I think it could be a goal fest. It may be something where Arsenal are going to go at Fulham, and Fulham definitely have the ability to probably utilize Mitrovic in a more deployed bomber forward, scoring off of the corners that Andreas Pereira is going to be whipping in. It may not be enough, but as far as his involvement and as far as his returns, I don't think you can get any worse than Gabriel Jesus, who, looking at his returns so far, include a double digit against Leicester with 19 points. And I think honestly, he was pretty unlucky to just get off with a single assist against Bournemouth, as Erik was saying, and it looks like maybe Saliba's going to have something to say about it and negating Fulham. And I would say first Salah, second Jesus, and I'm going to put number three on Harry Kane. There is the possibility that Haaland may or may not play the entire match, so that's why I'm kind of shying away from him. But Harry Kane against Nottingham Forest, it looks like a match that they could definitely take advantage of and maybe convince themselves that there isn't anything wrong with the club. Everything's nice and rosy. And struggling against Wolves may not have been the best case scenario for these Spurs attackers. But as far as what the next fixture holds in Nottingham Forest, I don't think you can go wrong with Harry Kane, but he definitely would sit a little bit further down on our captaincy pick list, coming in just in third. So just to review really quickly, Salah against Bournemouth, set and forget. Don't even think about it. Keep your rank secure. If you're feeling a bit more spicy and you believe in the resurrection, put it on Jesus against Fulham at home. Number three, Kane against Nottingham Forest. It could be possible that he breaks his August duck and he proves us all wrong, that he continues to score the goals. And the differential picks that Gat had mentioned, Ivan Toney. I'm just going to leave it there. If he does happen to bang, I think it's going to confirm the change to a 3-forward formation for your fantasy sides. And that pretty much wraps up our Fantasy 15 segment. As always, to give everyone a reminder, disclaimer, all of these suggestions are merely suggestions and cannot be taken as legal advice for the managing of your own fantasy teams. Remember that the one that makes the decisions is the one that owns the squad, and that is you. So you're going to be the one who plays and decides to play their own game. So just, take it with a grain of salt, as a wise man once said. Take it with a grain of salt.
Listen, I think whoever takes his advice and it goes backfired and need a lawyer, Josue worked with Amber Heard's team. We have pictures, so we have somebody in case you need somebody in your corner. But thank you guys for that fantasy update. Hopefully it comes into great help for those of you who need it. I definitely do in some leagues, not others. But I will definitely take it with a grain of salt. Let's move on to the games that we're going to focus for the week. These are the games. And Nick, get your book ready, bro. Get your book ready. All right? There you go. Make sure you're awake. So we got 3 games we're going to focus on. These are the 3 games that are going to determine our in-season tournament that ends on game week 5. We are going into game week 4. So the first game is going to be Southampton hosting Manchester United. Do the good times keep on rolling for Ten Hag's men? Sorry.
2-0 United.
2-0 United.
It's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going.
All right. Diego?
I do have it written down here the same 2-0 away win for United.
Yo, Nick, I don't know about you, but I feel like a James Ward-Prowse is gonna come into this game, and he's gonna get fouled by Casemita. He's gonna get like a yellow card, and then he's gonna score like a banger. So I'm gonna give this game 2-1 United.
I'm also gonna go 2-1 United. And yeah, that's it for the current.
All right, next game. This one could be a sleeper, man. Like, I forget who mentioned it earlier. Maybe I think it was either Diego or Nick, but Crystal Palace are a team that have really been impressing a lot with the players that they have. They're traveling to the Etihad. Man City, who came up a pretty rough result against the Newcastle at St. James Park. How do we see this going? Do Man City bounce back and get the typical win that they're supposed to get, or are Crystal Palace going to bring it to them like they've been bringing it to everybody else? And I'll go reverse. Diego.
Oh, okay.
Well, damn, it's rough, man, because I can see Palace kicking up. They've been a well-oiled machine. And if they've already been given the secrets on how to attack City, man, I'm going 1-1. I think it's highly improbable that City can get back-to-back draws, but I think it's going to be one where City scores first. They may get a bit complacent, and Palace is going to, with typical Zaha fashion, shit house, through ball from Eze, Zaha on the run, one-on-one versus Ederson, calmly slots it underneath him. I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
I'm going 2-0 City.
Okay.
This is gonna be a 2-2 entertaining as hell game.
Damn. I mean, I'm not surprised United fans are saying there's a draw going on here, but I'm gonna go 2-1 City.
All right.
And to end the last game of our prediction lineup here is Brighton versus Leeds. Leeds coming up a strong win at home against the Blues. Chelsea. Brighton, who I have 2 clean sheets, I believe, are looking pretty good. This could be a great litmus test for, I think, Jesse Marsch's men. So we'll go back in the other order. Jack, got.
This is probably gonna be low key one of the games of this upcoming game week. I don't think there's gonna be a win here, but I still gotta back my Leeds boys to get on the score sheet. So I'm gonna go with another 2-2.
Another 2.
I'm gonna go with Brighton taking a win. 3-1. No. Actually, I don't know.
3-1.
He said
No. Scratch that. I'm thinking about this. Scratch that. It's not done yet. You see? I'm telling you, I have to go back to that score line, man. I'm sure you changed my prediction. I got to go back to VAR, man. Yeah, this is hard because look.
He's going to say 4-1 now.
I'm sorry?
So you're going to say 4-1 now after all that?
I'm looking at it because I look at Leeds. I feel like they're gonna they have to get on the score sheet. There's the way they're playing right now. But also Brighton, 2 clean sheets, looking very organized. It's hard, man. It's hard. I think it's gonna be a really good test for Leeds. I want them to do good, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to break that Brighton structure. 2-1. I did, Matt. 2-1. Okay, put that's 2-1 Brighton.
All right. Diego?
I'm going 1-0 Leeds. It's going to be a tough match. I think it might be a blunder. It could be a blunder, but it could also be You know what? I'm going to put it a moment of wonder instead of a blunder. A moment of wonder from the Leeds boys. They're going to connect together for a nice, deadly, pacey counterattack that Rodrigo's going to get on the end of. 1-0 Leeds to continue the good times for Jesse Marsch.
All right.
I'm going to go 0-0.
0-0.
Yeah.
No shot.
I mean,
No
look, they went
way.
0-0 with Newcastle. So that's a fair
Yeah,
shot.
when I post that LeBron James gif again, that I got 0-0, correct. Don't come at me, baby.
All right.
So other games to keep your eye on: Brentford traveling to Everton, like they were mentioning about Ivan Phoney. Chelsea hosting Leicester. No defense, no offense. This is a decent matchup there. Liverpool, Bournemouth. I'm hoping Salah gets on the score sheet because I have on my team has done shit for me so far. Aston Villa, West Ham. West Ham has to get it going now.
That's a good game.
You think? Think it's gonna be a good game? Well, yeah, a shitty West Ham and a shitty Aston Villa. Should be an extra shitty game. Yeah, you're right.
On West Ham though, like I don't even know what's gone wrong for them. Like I had it on. I had a bookmark on Twitter, but I don't think they've won. I think they've won very few little games in their last 10 Premier League games. Like I really don't know what they have been doing wrong. They've been recruiting decently. I don't like all of their signings. Like that Tilo Kehrer guy from PSG. He just looks like those signings that comes into Premier League and just has that bozo gene, you know.
They were supposed to. Apparently, they were almost done with Lucas Paqueta, but that looks like it's officially off now. So that would have been a great signing for them.
And we'll see because historically West Ham have gotten better at Villa. They're 4-1-0 in their last 5. So we'll see if they decide to turn up.
Also have Wolves hosting Newcastle, and to end it, Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. So let us know what your predictions are going to be for the games that we're focusing on, and if you want to give us the other ones, please do so. Is there anything else that I missed, guys? Am I forgetting anything? Is that it?
Nah, that's the whole deal.
That's all the cookies and the crumbles that come off of it as well. We are going to end it there. It's been a long one. Thank you for sticking around. I feel like I'm forgetting something now, but if there's anything that you guys want to get off your chest before we end the episode.
Your transfers. If you haven't made your transfers, make sure you make your transfers for the draft. The waivers should probably go into effect tomorrow, 6 a.m., which is an unfortunate time, but it is what it is. And then afterwards, we can get any free agency signings. So make sure if you have any transfers to make or any trades that you want to involve any of the of your managers with, or with the Benchwarmers Draft League amongst ourselves, those have to be registered in before the deadline. Otherwise, you can only sign free agents after tomorrow. And that's really it. Just a reminder to make sure you get your bus team in and follow what any last minute news is gonna bring for the weekend.
Yeah, anything? Good,
No,
Nick, anything?
Nothing extra.
No, sir.
On that note, make sure you floss your teeth. Have a wonderful night. Give us a follow. Everything's down in the description down below. We are the Benchwarmers. We are not in the studio today, but we are in our lovely seats where the seats are always warm, and we want to have you on here as well. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody. Peace out.